My wife sent me a text. I'm filing for divorce. I'm keeping the house, the children, and your car. I answered with a single word, understood. 10 minutes later, I forwarded her attorney the bedroom nanny cam clips of her cheating and the voice recordings of her rehearsing lies with our kids. Her lawyer immediately fired off a drastically softened settlement proposal. I originally posted this in a couple of other forums, but I knew this group would want the complete play-by-play of how my soon-to-be ex tried to burn my world to the ground and instead torched her own future. Some context first. Married to Linda for 9 years. 2 children, Emma, 7, and Jake, 5. I work as an electrical engineer at a defense firm, pulling in roughly $120K a year, stable and predictable. Linda had been an RN when we met, but she stopped working the moment Emma arrived and never went back. She became a full-time mom, which I fully supported. Kids thrive with a parent at home and daycare prices are ridiculous anyway. Linda has always leaned toward the high-maintenance side. Designer bags, boutique fitness studios, standing hair and nail appointments, monthly spa packages, the whole routine. I never complained as long as the budget stayed in the black and the house ran smoothly. 18 months ago, the shift began. She fell in with a pack of newly divorced women from her hot yoga place. Bitter, vindictive types who spent every class trashing their exes as oppressive failures who stifled their glow-up. Linda started repeating their script word for word. Suddenly, I was emotionally distant. I failed to honor her sacrifices. I weaponized money to control her. All the buzzwords she'd never used in the first 9 years. I tried to talk it out, asked straight up if she was unhappy, if there was something specific she needed. Every attempt got flipped back on me. The mere fact I was asking proved how invalidating I was. Textbook Darvo I didn't recognize at the time. Around the same period, her phone became surgically attached to her hand. Bathroom, shower, face down on the dinner table, classic red flags. When I pointed it out, she accused me of paranoia and financial abuse waiting to happen. Then the attacks on my parenting started. She claimed I was overly rigid, crushing the kids' spirits, that they lived in fear of disappointing me. Complete fiction. I coached Jake's t-ball team, sit with Emma every night for homework, build volcano models on Saturdays. The kids and I were tight. But Linda kept manufacturing incidents. Me denying Emma dessert until she ate broccoli. Me making Jake say sorry for smacking his sister. Normal boundary setting, she now labeled emotional terrorism. I started audio recording our arguments about discipline because our state allows one-party consent, and I needed an objective record when she later insisted I'd agreed to things I never said. The habit grew after one blow-up, where she swore I'd screamed at Jake over spelling words when I'd simply asked him to concentrate. Her performance was so convincing, I began doubting myself. That's when I went full documentation mode. Voice-activated recorders in the kitchen and living room, nanny cams in the playroom and bedrooms, originally just to protect my parenting record, not to catch her. Turned out to be the best decision I ever made. 6 months ago, the emergencies began. Book club ran late. Yoga added an extra flow. Mom suddenly needed help. Always last minute. Always when I had plans. I'd rearrange my life. No problem. Except the excuses never added up and she'd return looking freshly blown out. Makeup perfect. Wearing an outfit different from the one she left in. The nanny cams showed she was dropping the kids at her sister's, then vanishing for hours. Location sharing, which we'd both agreed to years earlier for safety, placed her repeatedly at the same upscale apartment complex across town. The same unit, 2 to 4 hour blocks. A little digging revealed the unit belonged to Brad Morrison, recently separated Little League dad famous for hitting on anything in Lululemon. I needed irrefutable proof, so I added a voice-activated recorder under the seat of her SUV, still titled in my name, still legal. Jackpot. Phone sex with Brad, logistics about which hotel was cheaper, her venting that she had to invent reasons to escape, the warden and his spawn. She painted me to Brad as a checked-out father with rage issues who terrified the children. All lies. But she sold it convincingly. Brad, ever the hero, fed her names of shark divorce attorneys. Worst of all were the feeling talks she held with Emma and Jake while I was at work. Leading questions, gentle nudges, then outright scripting. Remember when Daddy got really mad about the toys on the floor? Did that scare you? If they said no, she'd rephrase until tears appeared, then teach them short, repeatable lines. Daddy yells, and it makes me sad. I feel safer with mommy. She was programming them for the inevitable GL interview. I archived everything with date timestamps. Still, I stayed quiet. I wanted her to go all in before I played my hand. 2 weeks ago, she announced a long weekend at her sister's for the kids to play with cousins. I thought it sounded healthy. Location history showed the kids went to the sisters Friday morning, and Linda immediately drove 2 hours to a resort where Brad was conveniently spending the weekend. His Instagram stories proved it. She retrieved the children Sunday afternoon, freshly tanned and relaxed. That night the kids were off, clingy with her, avoidant with me. After bedtime, Linda sat me down with a prepared speech. The weekend had been eye-opening. The children had finally felt safe enough to disclose how uneasy they felt at home, how my harsh tone upset them. She even had written quotes I supposedly triggered. I asked to speak to the kids myself. She refused, said it would re-traumatize them. Then she laid out her solution: separation, primary custody to her, me out of the house immediately. I suggested marriage counseling and family therapy first. She announced she'd already retained counsel, and counseling was off the table. I asked point-blank if another man was involved. She looked me dead in the eyes and swore this was only about shielding the kids from my toxic environment. I still didn't tip my hand. The following Monday, the bomb drop text arrived. Divorce declaration, house, kids, my Tahoe. Communicate only through counsel. I replied, noted, then called Robert Chun, the most expensive, most ruthless father's rights attorney in the state. I'd already retained him quietly months earlier, so he knew the file. I sent him 6 months of compiled evidence: videos, audio, GPS logs, hotel charges on the joint card, Brad's public photos with Linda, her own incriminating emails to a divorce attorney friend bragging about the alienation plan, everything. Robert confirmed the coaching recordings alone would gut any custody claim she made. Adultery still matters for asset division in our state, especially when marital funds paid for motel rooms. We had that covered 10 times over. Robert contacted her attorney, Patricia Hoffman, notorious man-eater, 5-figure retainers. Patricia opened with demands. I vacate the marital home immediately, all contacts supervised pending psych evals, etc. Robert stayed calm, suggested she might want to review certain materials before filing anything. She laughed it off, said courts protect children, not cheating husbands. Robert mentioned, casually, that we possessed multiple clear recordings of the petitioner coaching the children to fabricate abuse. He quoted 2 particularly damning 30-second clips. Silence. Then a very different tone. Patricia requested copies for review with my client and asked if we'd entertain settlement discussions. Robert said of course, provided the children's best interests stayed front and center. For the next 14 days, my phone lit up with increasingly frantic voicemails from Linda. Tears, apologies, promises of counseling, claims the kids missed their daddy. I let every call roll to voicemail. Exactly 2 weeks after Robert's first contact, Patricia called with an urgent proposal. 50-50 custody, no child support either direction. Linda walks away from the house and all retirement accounts. Takes only her clothes and jewelry. In exchange, we bury the affair and alienation evidence and mediate privately. I told Robert to counter with primary custody to me. Linda gets supervised visitation only until she completes a high-conflict parenting course and individual therapy. She vacates the home, receives no spousal support, takes only personal belongings and half the value of her vehicle, and signs a stipulated finding admitting the coaching. Robert warned it was aggressive but 100% enforceable with our evidence. Patricia pushed back. Robert repeated, "Take it or we go public with everything." Wednesday, she accepted every term verbatim. Linda moved out that weekend while the kids stayed with my parents. By Sunday night, the house was mine again. The children asked where mommy went. I kept it simple. Sometimes grown-ups need to live in different houses, but both parents love them just the same. Emma asked if they had been naughty, and that was why mommy left. Knife to the heart. I spent a long time reassuring them this had nothing to do with them. First supervised visit 3 weeks later at a court-approved family center. The kids were polite but guarded. Linda tried to play normal. The kids kept looking at the supervisor, confused. Jake asked when he could go home with me. Linda's mask slipped a few times. The supervisor's report noted multiple inappropriate comments blaming me and the unfair judge. Brad ghosted her the moment the story spread through the Little League grapevine. Turns out he didn't sign up for baby mama drama. She's now in a 400-square-foot studio, furniture courtesy of her sister's spare room leftovers, no access to joint accounts, working part-time again for the first time in 8 years. The kids are healing fast. Nightmares stopped, appetites back, laughter in the house again. We're in family therapy. The psychologist says children rebound quickly once the manipulation stops and stability returns. Final decree should be signed in the next 6 weeks. Patricia's billable hours for 3 weeks of work probably topped 50 grand. My fees were high too, but I sleep like a baby knowing my children are safe. Looking back, the red flags were neon. The slow personality transplant, the sudden villain origin story she wrote for me, the calculated campaign to poison my own kids against me, all while smiling to my face. She banked on me being the typical blindsided husband who reacts emotionally and hands her ammunition. Instead, I documented quietly, patiently, ruthlessly. She thought she was playing 4D chess. I just waited until she pushed all her pieces forward, then flipped the board. Now she lives with the fallout, and my kids and I get to rebuild in peace. Honestly, wouldn't change a thing, except maybe spotting the monster behind the mask a little earlier. But that's a lesson for next time, if there ever is one. The recordings are backed up in 3 separate locations, the kids are thriving, and the house is calm again. Checkmate.